What is up, internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you the Killing It Again 2023 Sportage. We are in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, and I'm proud to bring you the Kia Sportage, or Sportage, or Sportage, or as some people call me, Michelle. Now this Sportage is completely different than the last generation. The way it works with Kia now is they felt that the Seltos, which is their #1 seller, was actually too close to the old generation Sportage. So they made this thing a little bit bigger. So the way it goes is Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, and then of course, my favorite, the Telluride. So 23 years ago, Kia launched the Sportage. Now, us Canadians, if we want to buy one of these today, they're built in Korea, no matter what trim level you bought. But for you Americans, if you want one of these bad boys, the only way you get one built in Korea is if you get the base model. Everything else is built in Georgia. So this model is the X line. Now the way they've done it is they've made sort of an on-street version, which they call the EX Premium, which is their top trim level if you want a street version. And if you want something a little bit more off-roady, a little bit more sort of sporty, then guess what? You got this X line. Now as far as engine, there's only one engine available right now, and that is the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated. The hybrid is actually on its way here, but it's not here right now. God, mosquitoes everywhere. And then there's a plug-in hybrid that's gonna be here in a few months where you can plug right in. But today we're gonna focus on this bad boy. All right, Kia Sportage, start and stop, disactivate by hitting this button. I've got a 2.5 liter, 187 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque out of an 8-speed transmission. I'm not sure if that sound is plumbed in or not, but it actually sounds pretty aggressive on the throttle. If you ever had the chance to come to BC, to Victoria specifically, and drive on these roads, no matter what you drive, it's enjoyable, beautiful. You don't need much more than 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque because you have an 8-speed transmission that you can wind up, wind down, and even these paddle shifters do a half-decent job. They're not totally slow. They're good enough for this windiness. So there are 3 drive modes and 3 terrain modes: normal, sport, and smart. And as far as terrain goes, you gotta hit this button and it shows you snow, mud, and sand, which we have none of them. We just want sport and sport all the way. In terms of steering feel between normal and sport, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of difference. It feels like sport could be a tiny bit heavier, but both do a really good job coming back to center. So when I'm turning and I let go, it comes right back to center, which is a really nice feel. In terms of suspension, you can see my head bop from all this boppingness. It's not super soft and it's not super firm either. I feel like it's a really good mix. I'm not saying that. We've been in this car now for almost 5 hours and I can tell you that it's good. We don't feel, well, Ian feels sick, but that's for me going all day long. What would normally make me sick though is this windshield. You see, when they have heated windshield, they have these little sort of elements in them. With the Range Rover Sport that my wife has, when I look through it over time, it gives me a headache. This one does have it, but it's very, very, very thin that I don't even notice that this is a heated windshield, but it is. And at this price point, That's a dream. You know what's cool about Kia? Is the front ends look kind of different no matter which model you buy. They don't all look the same or like the same style, but just bigger. They're actually different designs. And even when you buy one of these Sportages, you get a different design when you get an X-Line or a not X-Line. Like take a look at this lower valence. You see how this is straight? Well, if you get the other on-street EX version, it's actually angular and the fog lights are in different positions. And how about this grille? Yes, completely different, like here. Take a look at this boomerang style headlight. Now they're doing this thing called Opposites United. You see, this is called the Tiger Nose Grille. When Kia started, it was nice and big. They've got really small and they call it a digital Tiger Nose Grille because it's smaller. They're gonna call this the Metaverse front grille in the future, but who cares about all that? So off to the side, you get 8 different color choices and 3 different interiors based on what model you buy. Now you're probably looking at this thing and thinking, wow, this is a big Sportage, and the truth is it is. It's 7 inches longer than the old version, and it's 3 inches longer in terms of wheelbase. So if you don't know what wheelbase is, it's the measurement from this to this. That's how you know how long a car is and how much body you can put on top of it. Now, as far as styling, well, look, this is not shiny black because this is the off-road X-Line version. As far as wheels go, you get 17s, a choice of 18s, and then different styles of 19s, whether you get the X-Line or the EX. You also get these fancy, shiny black mirror caps, fancy, shiny black roof rails that are squarish, and of course, all the black trim around here. And you have color matched door handles that have the lock and unlock right here. And of course, in typical Kia style, you don't have them in the back. And let me tell you what else is cool. You can actually option out a black roof on this thing. Sweet. You got 360 cameras right here. Money. Check out this line. It hovers and then it goes up and it gives you a big booty. A big enough booty to hold a 14.7 gallon fuel tank. She no thirsty. So if the front was a little bit, too much, overstyled, a bit out there, and you want something a little bit more normal, well, they've cleaned it up for you in the back. And you'll be happy to know that these are up here now and not down here like the old ones. And people hated that because if you were too close to somebody or it was the winter and it was all full of snow, you could not see them indicate. But here, you can. If you're trying to figure out the overall vibe with the Sportage, including this thin strip, it's very EV6-like, and that's where I notice it right here. It also has this nice single LED bar on the top. It's just very simple. It does have a power trunk because this is the top of the line, or even almost top of the line, you get a power tailgate. You want to know how much it tows? 2,500 pounds. That's decent. So you do have height adjustable tailgate, and you also have a dual adjustable load floor. Yes, there's 2 levels that this bad boy can sit on. And if you want to put the seats down 60/40, there is actually handles now that folds down. And it actually gives you 30% more trunk room than the last gen. Back seat of the Kia Sport. What the? This is a holder. Yeah, this headrest is a jacket holder. And it also has a built-in, look at this, a bag holder on both sides. And USB-C on both seats, not just one. Yeah, there's vents here. That's an upgrade at this price point. And they also have heated seats and a big panoramic sunroof, all in black. They do have these quilted leather seats in the back. That is pretty cool. And everything here is animal-free. Yeah, the leather. Tesla? Is that you? Sunroof and sage green interior. Yeah, when I first got in it, I thought it was gray. It's actually sage green. They also have carmine red and, of course, black. Sorry, no more white for you guys. So if you didn't hear me, the difference in the back seat is 3 inches, and this is what the difference maker is about the Sportage. You see, most compact SUVs are tiny in the back, but this gains 3 full inches. That's pretty big. So if you're an audiophile like me, you'd like to know that this does have 6 speakers standard, which are pretty weak, but it does have an upgrade Harman Kardon that has 8 speakers. But all in all, the coolest part about this is that you can actually sync 2 phones to Bluetooth at the same time. Front seat of the Kia Sportage. Major change. Curved screens. 2 of them, 12.3. This is touch. This is not. The other thing you'll notice is that if you get the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid, you'll actually have the turny thing like the EV6, because that is drive-by-wire. This thing is drive-by-cable. I'm a huge Kia fan when it comes to the steering wheel. They're so obvious. These buttons are just so obvious. Volume, mode, it's just all here. I said this in the first Kia video I ever did. It's like going to the dollar store and getting a really, really big calculator with these huge buttons, and that's what it is. Even in the most modern vehicle they have, like an EV6, of course, is this HVAC. I love the fact that you don't really use the radio buttons that often, so you can just slide down HVAC and then slide back up to your menu nav and all the rest of it right here. So easily done, as opposed to having two separate sets of buttons. Smart. This is totally different than the last one. We already said that on the outside, but on the inside, it's totally apparent. These vents are super futuristic. I already talked about how awesome the steering wheel is. The seats, they are vented and they are quilted. So you can choose in other cars, but in this one, you get them both. Now, I do wish the posture was a little bit better. I feel like it needs a little bit more filling in terms of the quality inside the seat. It does have memory seats, so if there's two of you, you're safe. Now, you probably want to know, what if I want to plug my phone in for charging and Apple CarPlay? Well, with Apple CarPlay, it's kind of interesting. With most Kias, with all Kias, you can't actually have wireless Apple CarPlay when you get the bigger screens. When you get the smaller screens, it's standard. You can get wireless CarPlay on the smaller screens. The bigger screens, you have to plug it in, but then you get wireless charging. So what's up with that? So as you move along the center console here, you will see that your heated seats and ventilated seats are right there, including your heated steering wheel button. It obviously has a shifter because, as I mentioned, if you get drive-by-wire, they are different than drive-by-cable. It does have the start and stop right there, and when you have that, you have remote start on the key. And then further down, you have your 360 cameras, you have your start and stop, and then of course, hill descent and auto hold, which is my favorite in the city. As far as this, it is not adjustable. You cannot slide it back and forth, and you have a bit of a center, console. But the most important, coolest innovation are these cup holders. You simply just press this button and it'll slide open and slide closed. You see, you can use it for anything. You can put whatever you want in there, and if you want the cup holders, you hit the button, and then they become cup holders. That is a pretty cool innovation, Kia. It even gives you arrows to tell you where it goes, so that you're not like me trying to push it the other way. So we've gone through the screen already in the EV6 because they are exactly the same. It does have your typical Kia sort of home screen right here with the time, the date, and the navigation directions right there. When I do slide over, it gives me all my data, map, navigation, phone projection, which becomes Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Of course, quiet mode, that quiets the back speakers and keeps the front at a low level when the kids are sleeping. And of course, everything else is pretty much the same. So for the most part, I think you're going to pretty much only use Apple CarPlay, besides maybe using Kia Connect to set it up so that you can do cool stuff on your app, because that's the way things are going nowadays. So who's buying this car, and will that person care about not having wireless CarPlay when they buy the most loaded version? That is a really good question. The bigger question is, why do they have wireless charging if they don't have wireless CarPlay? Because you have to plug it in anyways. So do you plug it in and then put that phone on a wireless charger? Or is that wireless charger dedicated to the passenger? Then they should put a little sign that says passenger only. I think the bigger question is how much power do you need? This has adequate power to sort of drive around town. Up and down mountains, if you're towing 2,500 pounds, might be a little bit difficult. This thing was kind of in power range for most of the time going upwards. There wasn't enough torque to sort of just rest on its laurels. You had to kind of get into it to get up the hill, even though this 8-speed transmission did the great job. So that'll be interesting. Interesting to drive the 1.6, because that thing is awesome when it comes to fuel mileage, or so they say. We'll review that, and we will let you guys know when we get it. No car is perfect, and this one sucks in turning radius. This turning radius is terrible. Not totally terrible, but it ain't perfect, I'll tell you that. I'm really happy with this 12.3-inch screens or 25-inch worth of display for my eyes to see. The build quality is really, really good. I really like the fact that it has a heated windshield and of course a rear wiper. I like the fact that when I stop at a stop sign and a car's in front of me and they take off and I'm daydreaming on a podcast I'm listening to, I like the fact that it tells me that the car in front of me has left. That is small, but it's cool to have. And I'm also happy that I'm filming this in probably the most beautiful place in the world. So all the Canadians out there, drop the Canadian flag, baby, and we'll see you on the next one.